Fiction opens an imaginative door that reality shuts. Deborah Brody. When people live in reality for too long, they often become like an old clock. Still working, still moving, but having lost the internal resonance of emotion. It is at that very moment that fiction appears like a strange breeze blowing away the dust that covers the soul. Novels, stories, and imaginary worlds are not merely an escape from reality. They are like mirrors reflecting the deepest parts of ourselves, the parts we dare not reveal in real life. In life, there are dreams that are ridiculed, emotions that are forced into silence, and aspirations crushed by the weight of reality. But in the world of fiction, humans are allowed to fly higher than their own limitations. An ordinary person can become a hero, a wounded heart can find healing, a lonely soul can feel understood. Sometimes, things that are unreal touch a deeper truth than life itself. For reality usually only shows us the surface, while imagination digs deep into the soul. A good story can make people weep for a character who never existed, but those very tears are proof that their inner emotions are still alive. Fiction awakens the capacity for empathy, something that a busy life often numbs. It makes people look at the world not just with their eyes, but with their hearts. Imagination is the ultimate realm of human freedom. When life forces us to live according to roles, responsibilities, and pressures, fictional stories allow the soul to breathe. That is not weakness, but a delicate form of healing. Readers step into a story to escape the world for a moment, only to return to reality with a stronger, deeper spirit. Like a traveler walking through the dark night who spots a distant light, fiction reminds us that there is still reason to hope. Perhaps that is why humans have never stopped telling stories. From ancient myths to modern novels, they all bear witness to the fact that the human soul always needs a door to step out of the cage of reality. And sometimes, it is the imagined things that help us understand who we truly are. When the moon is shining, the cripple becomes hungry for a walk. Shunu Achebe. Moonlight has long symbolized freedom, gentleness, and peaceful dreams. A bright moonlit night often makes one want to step outside, breathe the fresh air, and immerse oneself in the endless beauty of the world. Yet, at that very moment, a disabled person feels their pain more vividly than ever. Not because they hate the moonlight, but because that light unwittingly highlights what they cannot have. The more beautiful it is, the closer it feels to being within reach, making the inner desire all the more intense. The things that move us most deeply are often the ones that break our hearts the most. In life, everyone carries some form of disability. Some lack money, some lack love, some lack self-belief, and others spend their entire lives unable to reach their cherished dreams. During the day, people are busy, so they easily forget these deficiencies. But when night falls and the noise subsides, hidden desires begin to stir within the soul, like silent waves beneath the surface of the sea. It is when looking at the moonlight, the symbol of beauty and freedom, that humans feel most clearly the invisible chains holding them back. Desire never dies, even in the most helpless of circumstances. The cripple still wishes to walk, just as people who have been hurt still want to love, and those who have failed still want to hope. That is the most beautiful instinct of the soul. Desire is proof that the heart is still beating. A person who no longer desires anything at all is truly terrifying because they have no inner light left to guide them through life. Humans often suffer not from absolute deprivation, but from seeing something beautiful that they cannot touch. Like standing outside a warmly lit window on a freezing night, sensing the warmth but unable to step inside. Yet, it is precisely this feeling that gives depth to human nature. Souls that have known longing are often more empathetic, understanding the pain of others and appreciating the small things in life. Even if a disabled person cannot go for a walk, their persistent desire to step outside is already a quiet victory of the soul over fate. And sometimes, the greatest beauty of human beings lies not in how far they can walk, but in how, no matter how life limits them, their hearts still turn toward the light. It's what you do right now that makes a difference. Mark Bowden. Most of us live between two realms of time, regretting the past and daydreaming about the future. We often think that someday we will change, become stronger, more capable, and happier. But life is not built on someday. It is woven from the tiny moments of the present. People often underestimate the power of action in the present moment. A minute of effort today might seem like nothing, like a single raindrop falling into a vast lake. But time has the power to turn small things into destiny. A small habit repeated daily can build a completely different person over the years. Just like a seed lying quietly in the dark soil unnoticed, but that silent waiting prepares it for the day it breaks through the ground to become a great tree. People are easily captivated by the idea of change, yet afraid of concrete action. Because thoughts are effortless, while actions always demand sacrifice. We can imagine success for hours, yet hesitate to take the first small step. That is why many spend their lives in a state of getting ready to start, like standing on the shore, endlessly analyzing the waves instead of daring to step into the water. Meanwhile, those who truly make a difference are often not the most perfect people, but those who dare to act even when they are not fully ready. The present is the only place where humans truly hold power. The past is like ashes, it can be looked back upon but never changed. The future is like mist, it can be imagined but not yet grasped. Only the present is the ground that actually lies in our hands. A kind word spoken today can save a despairing soul. An hour of learning today can change an entire future. A decision to give up a bad habit today can save a life from silent decay. You do not need to become a perfect version of yourself immediately. You only need to do the right thing in the present moment. Just as the sun does not rise with a single ray of light, life does not change through a single grand action. It is the small but consistent efforts that quietly create the gap between a life lived vaguely and true maturity. The difference is not determined by what you used to think, promise, or dream. It is determined by whether, right now, as time slips away second by second, you choose to stand still or move forward. Life is a game that must be played. Edwin Arlington Robinson. No one is asked for their consent before entering this game. We appear in life like a player who opens their eyes to find themselves standing in the middle of a constantly moving chessboard. Some are born with a favorable hand, while others start with loss and deprivation. But whether we like it or not, we must all participate. The most dangerous thing is not losing, but giving up on playing before the game even ends. People often suffer because they think life must be fair. But like any great game, life has never operated based on personal emotions. Sometimes you try your best and still fail. Sometimes others succeed easily with very little effort. This makes many bitter, and they gradually lose faith in themselves. But the essence of the game does not lie in always winning, but in the ability to keep moving even when the results are not as expected. A truly mature person is not one who has never fallen, but one who understands that falling is part of the game. Life is like a long chess game where every choice silently carries a consequence. Some decisions seem small at first, but years later, they change an entire destiny. A thoughtless word can ruin a relationship. A good habit repeated daily can build a whole future. People often think of destiny as something grand and mysterious, but in reality, much of fate is shaped by very ordinary daily moves. Just as a great chess player wins not through a miraculous move, but through clarity in every small step. The unique thing about the game of life is that no one can play it for you. Others can offer advice, they can help you up, but no one can walk in your shoes. Many spend their entire lives blaming circumstances, the past, or others, forgetting that time quietly marches on. While they stand still in regret, the game continues. And sometimes, the greatest loss is not failure, but letting fear stop you from truly living. If life is a game, it also means there is always an opportunity to start over, to learn, and to grow. No one plays perfectly from the start. Mistake, defeat, and pain are like levels in a game that help us understand ourselves better. It is difficulty that builds depth, just as fire does not destroy pure gold, but only makes it purer. Perhaps the most beautiful thing about life is not who wins or loses, but how each person chooses to play their part. Some play with courage, some play with kindness. Some, despite being covered in wounds, never lose hope. And that is what creates the true value of a human being in the vast game called life. No matter how many times people try to criticize you, the best revenge is to prove them wrong. Zayn Malik. In life, what hurts us most is sometimes not failure, but the feeling of being looked down upon. A word of ridicule can stay in the mind for a very long time, like a tiny shard of glass embedded in the skin. Not enough to kill us, but enough to hurt whenever touched. And from those very wounds, we either fall or grow. When dismissed, our first instinct is often to fight back immediately. We want to argue, to prove ourselves right with words, to make others realize they were wrong about us. But the louder we try to shout, the easier it is to lose our own value. For words only create a temporary echo, while results are what make silence powerful. A tree does not need to explain that it will grow. It simply drives its roots deeper into the earth and one day rises naturally. Critics are often like bystanders standing outside a race, loudly judging the runners. Sometimes they do it out of envy, sometimes because they do not understand you, and sometimes simply because they need to feel superior to hide their own inner insecurities. If you spend all your energy fighting them, you will unwittingly turn your life into a mirror reflecting others' emotions. But when you focus on self-improvement, your success will become the answer without the need for any argument. The most beautiful revenge is actually not to hurt the other person, but to refuse to let them destroy your future. Some people lose their confidence due to criticism, living their whole lives in fear of failure. But there are also those who turn criticism into fuel to move forward. They are like coal under immense pressure. Instead of crumbling, they become diamonds. The difference lies not in the circumstances, but in how they react to the wound. Life will always have skeptical eyes. If you are weak, they will become chains. But if you are strong enough, they will become your motivation. One day, when you are truly mature, you will realize that the most valuable thing is not making others feel ashamed for misjudging you. The most valuable thing is that throughout that journey, you have become a better version of yourself. The greatest victory is not defeating someone else. The greatest victory is not letting the negativity of others turn you into an angry person. When you succeed and still maintain your composure, kindness, and self-belief, that is the most powerful response to all criticism. When you hear someone sigh, "Life is hard," I am always tempted to ask, compared to what? Sidney Harris. Most of us often feel life is heavy because we unconsciously view happiness as the default state and hardship as an injustice that occurs. But in reality, challenges are not exceptions to life. They are part of the very nature of existence. Humans often view life through the lens of expectation. When things do not go as planned, we immediately call it a hardship. But if we look deeper, we will realize that simply being alive is already a journey full of friction. A seed that wants to become a tree must tear open its own shell in the darkness of the deep earth. A bird that wants to fly must struggle to break through its tight eggshell. Human growth is just like that. It always comes with pressure, loss, and phases that seem unbearable. This is not to deny the pain of others, but to awaken perspective. For many times, what exhausts us is not the circumstance itself, but the unconscious comparison to an imaginary life where everything is easy, perfect, and always favorable. We see others smile and think they live more easily than we do, while behind that smile there may be mental battles we know nothing about. Life is like the sea at night. From afar it looks calm, but beneath the surface there are always fierce currents. Humans tend to magnify present pain because emotions are always so close. A small failure today can make us feel as if the whole world is against us. But time often proves that many things that once made us despair were actually just necessary paths to growth. Like climbing a mountain, the higher you go, the harder it is to breathe, but that very difficulty opens up a grander view. No one grows strong from days that are too easy. Humans should stop viewing themselves as victims of life. For if difficulty is natural, then facing it is no longer a sign of failure, but a sign that we are living, learning, and moving forward. A person who has never experienced pain has often never truly grown. It is the scratches of life that create depth in the human soul, just as gemstones must endure immense pressure to form. Perhaps the most important thing is not whether life is hard, because it is always hard in some way. The important thing is our attitude toward those difficulties. If we only look at the darkness, we will find ourselves trapped. But if we understand that trials are a natural part of the journey, we will stop resisting life and begin to learn how to walk with it. When looking back at the moments that once made us want to give up, we will realize those very bumpy roads silently created the strongest version of ourselves today. The real opportunity for success lies within the person and not in the job. Zig Ziglar. Many people believe that success depends on the perfect job, the perfect environment, or the perfect timing. They think that just by changing jobs, changing circumstances, or meeting the right opportunity, life will naturally change. A weak person stepping into a great opportunity will often still fail, while a strong person can still create their own value even in small circumstances. The job is only the soil, the person is the seed. Fertile soil cannot save a seed that is rotted from within, but a healthy seed can sometimes still grow even in barren land. What decides a person's future is not just what job they do, but the attitude, mindset, and inner strength they bring to that job. Some people do an ordinary job but still shine because of their dedication and discipline. Conversely, some stand in highly coveted positions but gradually lose themselves due to a lack of will and growth. Humans often like to blame circumstances because it is easier than looking directly at themselves. When we fail, we often say that our time has not come, that we lack opportunity, or that we are unrecognized. But few ask themselves, if a true opportunity appeared right now, would I have enough competence to seize it? Opportunity is like a door that only opens briefly, and only those who have prepared in advance can step through. Many pray for success, yet live each day as if they do not need to grow anymore. Reality shows that the greatest difference between people lies not in their starting point, but in their capacity for self-development. A person who knows how to learn will turn difficulties into lessons. A disciplined person will move forward even when they lack motivation. A person who maintains a positive spirit will not easily fall before criticism. These very qualities silently create an attraction that draws opportunities to them. Just as a strong light naturally draws attention in the dark, a person's inner strength generates its own luck. The most beautiful thing about this quote is that it hands power back to the individual. If success only depended on the job or circumstances, most people would forever be ruled by fate. But when we understand that the core element lies within ourselves, we realize we still have the ability to change our future starting today. You do not need to wait for life to be perfect to start developing yourself. For when a person is strong enough, they can turn even ordinary work into extraordinary opportunities. Success is not something that sits waiting in a certain profession for anyone who enters to achieve. It is like a fire lit from within each person, from perseverance, a learning spirit, and a will that refuses to stop. And when the inner self is solid enough, even the narrowest paths can lead to vast horizons. Luck is a dividend of sweat. The more you sweat, the luckier you get. Ray Kroc. Success is often viewed as just a game of fate. We often look at the moment others shine and call it luck, but we do not see the long nights they quietly endured, the failures they silently overcame, or the sweat that fell before the opportunity appeared. Luck, in many cases, is not a miracle falling from the sky, but the result of preparation meeting the right moment. Humans tend to love stories of quick success because they make things seem easy. We want to believe there is a shortcut to great results without having to trade too much. But life operates on a deeper law. An athlete stands on the victory podium in just a few minutes, but behind those minutes are thousands of hours of unseen training. Like an iceberg, the part people see is only the tip above water, while the submerged part is what truly carries the weight. Sweat in this quote is not just physical labor, but also symbolizes mental persistence. It is the ability to keep trying when no one has recognized you yet. It is waking up every day and doing what needs to be done, even without motivation. It is daring to repeat the boring small steps that make many give up halfway. It is these seemingly tedious things that silently build true capability. And when the opportunity appears, the one who has prepared for long will be called lucky, while the unprepared will call it unfair fate. Persistent effort also creates another important change. It molds a person into someone capable of recognizing opportunities. There are opportunities that always exist around us, but those lacking skill and courage will not be able to see or seize them. Like a door that only opens for those who already have the key, luck usually favors those who have trained themselves long enough. This explains why some people find more success the more they work, while others wait forever for luck, but their lives stand still. If everything only depended on fate, most of us would be helpless before life. But when we understand that effort can create luck, we realize we still have the power to influence the future. Every hour of study, every effort, every failure we do not let stop us is like quietly depositing money into the bank of opportunity. You may not see results today, but one day, life will repay it all with doors that suddenly open. In the end, the truly lucky person is not one who has never faced difficulty, but one who is persistent enough not to stop before it. For behind every great success, there are always traces of sweat, something that shines brighter than the luck people often speak of. The great thing in this world is not so much where we stand as in what direction we are moving. Oliver Wendell Holmes. People often make themselves suffer by looking around and comparing. We see others going further, being more successful, wealthier, and we unconsciously feel left behind. But life is not a short race where whoever leads in the present is guaranteed to win. What decides a person's future is not their starting point, but the direction they walk in every day. There are those who stand at very high positions but are silently going downhill. They have wealth but have lost the meaning of life. They have success but their souls grow emptier. On the contrary, there are those who are currently poor, clumsy, or full of failure, yet inside them lies a precious strength. They are moving forward. Like a ship in the night sea, the important thing is not where it is in the vast ocean, but which direction its compass is pointing. As long as you go in the right direction, no matter how slowly, you will eventually get closer to where you want to be. Humans are often obsessed with immediate results. We want to see quick success to feel that we have value. But true growth takes place much more silently. A person who reads books every day might not change immediately, but their mindset is shifting. A person who trains every day might not see a perfect body yet, but inner strength is forming. Life is like turning the rudder of a large ship. The initial change may seem tiny, but over time, it leads to a completely different destination. The most dangerous thing is not going slowly, but losing direction. Many are busy all their lives, but are actually just running in circles. They live according to others' expectations, the fear of judgment, and fleeting desires, forgetting to ask who they truly want to become. A person can climb the ladder of success very quickly, only to realize with pain that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. Direction is more important than speed. A small step in the right direction is still more valuable than hundreds of steps taken in vain. We must realize that the present is not a final verdict. You might be in a difficult phase, you might be slower than others, you might not have achieved what you wanted, but if today you are learning more than yesterday, are stronger than yesterday, and kinder than yesterday, it means you are moving in the right direction. Life does not change overnight. It changes from the tiny but continuous movements of the soul. The current position is only a temporary moment, while the direction decides your long-term destiny. A person standing still on a mountaintop can still slide down, while a person climbing from the valley every day carries a wider future. And perhaps the greatest beauty of human beings lies not in where they start, but in the courage to keep moving toward the light, even when the road ahead is long and foggy. An obstacle is often a stepping stone. Prescott. The very thing that seems to block our way is sometimes what raises us higher. People often view difficulty as a sign of failure. When rejected, falling, or losing, we easily think life is against us. But if we observe closely, we will realize that the strongest and most mature people are rarely made from ease. It is pressure that turns coal into diamonds, and a strong current that polishes pebbles over time. Humans always tend to seek safety. We want a flat road. We want success to come quickly and with as little pain as possible. But prolonged comfort often makes us weak. A tree that grows where there is no wind will easily break when a storm comes, because it has never learned to root itself deeply. The trials we once wanted to avoid are the very things that train our endurance, patience, and inner strength. There are life lessons that cannot be learned through books, but only by walking through pain. The unique thing about obstacles is that they force us to change. When things are too favorable, we easily fall asleep in our old version. But difficulty is like a narrow gate that forces us to shed our old skin if we want to move forward. A failure can teach us humility. A betrayal can help us understand the value of sincerity. A period of loneliness can make us discover a strength we never knew we had. These things seem like wounds at first, but over time, they become the foundation of maturity. People often only see the meaning of an obstacle once they have passed it. Just like standing too close to a painting, we only see chaotic patches of color. But when we step back far enough, everything begins to take on a clear shape. There are moments in the past that once drove us to despair. Yet looking back years later, those very moments change the direction of our lives in a positive way. What once caused us pain might be the very thing that saved us from a weaker and more limited version of ourselves. Do not be quick to see difficulty as the end. A step that wants to raise a person higher must first lie across their path. Obstacles are the same. They appear as if to test whether we will stop or use them as a leverage to take the next step. Perhaps the greatest difference between those who give up and those who mature lies not in who meets fewer difficulties, but in how they view them. The first sees a wall and turns back. The second sees an unfinished step. And sometimes, the very things that made us want to stop are what silently bring us to places we never thought we could reach.